Welcome back to Straight Shoot, guys. Jack and I are here to cover, I think, one of the most talked about online documentaries for a wrestler that we have seen in many years. That is Karrion Kross's part 2 to The Killer. My WWE contract is up today. Now, this video is being recorded a couple days after because we wanted to see what the fallout of Monday Night Raw is. But Jack, first off, when you viewed this, what were your original thoughts when you viewed this documentary? And one, how it was all put together, and two, kind of the realism that we fully got from Karrion Kross and Scarlett in this.
You know, in an era where everybody's got a YouTube channel and everybody puts out content and everybody's got a podcast and everybody's putting their voices out there, like that felt like an old school, legitimate documentary, which is hard to do in today's world. So I give his producer and his editor a ton of credit for making that look very eerie, very enticing to watch right away, like right off the bat. And I'll be honest, I didn't watch his interview on the post SummerSlam review with Sam Roberts. I did not watch that podcast. I was actually flying. I was flying from New York back to Las Vegas, so I didn't really get a chance to watch it. Obviously, I heard the news. You know, Cena versus Rhodes was a 5-star classic. I heard Brock Lesnar came back. That was the big news for SummerSlam Sunday. But I didn't get a chance to watch that review podcast going into watching this documentary, which is why the first 5 seconds were very eye-opening to me, of Karrion Kross basically screaming at Sam Roberts, screaming at the camera crew, telling the guy in the production truck to go fuck himself. That was very, I'm like, oh my God, like he's losing it. And Scarlett's playing the role of like, hey, don't do this here. And then he stormed off, and then the documentary starts. That I mean, just from a film buff's perspective and a producer and an editor myself, like that's how you want to start a video. That's how you hook people's attention right away. Obviously, he tells the tale of, I'm not mad at anybody. I was playing the gimmick. It was kayfabe, right? Loves Sam Roberts, loves Triple H. And like, there was no guy in the truck. He's like, I was talking to a still camera that they had for the podcast. But the fans don't know that. You know, the fans think there's, you know, Paul Levesque and Lee Fitting in a production truck somewhere in Gorilla, you know, and he just told him to go F himself. But that wasn't the case, which to me, it's like, okay, we got a glimpse of, he's leaving. He's upset. He's very pissed off that WWE was angry that he was communicating effectively and showing love and admiration towards his fan base, which a heel shouldn't be doing, especially publicly on a YouTube channel. But to him, he's like, this is my crew. He's got that cult following. You know, people go to see him at meet and greets. You know, babies and little kids want to interact with him. You know, Scarlett went out of her way and be like, hey, there's a little kid over there who's been trying to grab your attention for an hour. Go talk to them. Yeah. It's an interesting situation because, like, in an era where we think we know everything, WWE has finally figured out a way to make it seem like we know all the answers when we really don't. The Seth Rollins fake injury angle, I mean, me and you talked about it. As soon as we saw that match, we're like, he's out 9 to 12 months. Like, there was no thought of they're faking this because it didn't look fake. No. That looked like the way that they ended the match prematurely and the way that they cut away to anything. They didn't mention Seth Rollins for the rest of the night. Like, that tells you, okay, that was a real injury. And they're scooting away. They did everything right to fool everybody. Yeah. Obviously, a few weeks later, people started to speculate. Maybe he shows up at SummerSlam. Maybe it is a fake injury angle and whatever. It was still shocking. Yeah. The Karrion Kross thing where it's like, okay, he's got a cult following. WWE, and at least Paul Heyman recognizes that, yeah, he's got a cult following and it's working and the fans are behind him. They wouldn't be behind him this much if we were pushing him right now. Yeah. But we're building him up, essentially. And now it's like, is he legitimately gone? They're making it seem like he's legitimately gone. You know, the Wrestling Observer and David Meltzer and all these guys, Fightful, whatever, are saying that, oh, it's real. Like, he doesn't have a contract, you know. But, like, do we really know? Would WWE give that information away to even their most trusted reporters and their most trusted media personnel, right? They want to keep this a secret if they are doing it. So to me, after watching this back and forth, it's a tale of Karrion Kross's fan base loving him dearly and him not, and despite him being told you can't, indulge in their love and their affection for you, he still did.
Yeah.
And at the same time, making fans wonder if this is it or if he's coming back. Because of the way they booked him, 2 losses against Sami Zayn on back-to-back PLEs, and kind of not mentioning him moving forward, being like, we want Kross, we want Kross. Oh, you want Brock? You got Brock. Yeah. Even though, like, people will say, like, it was a mix of we want Kross and we want Brock.
I think they broke that down, and I'll go into that. I think it was Sam Roberts. No, it wasn't Sam Roberts. It was the other guy that said when you're on stage, you've got both earplugs in. So those earplugs are noise canceling. You hear first the guys that are sitting around you talking to you, and you also see the guys producing the show talking to you. So hearing the crowd is very difficult. So this is what I guess the excuse or the reasoning by Triple H not hearing the "we want Kross." He thought they were saying "we want Brock," and that was what was talked about a couple of days later. I think it was Sam on Pro Wrestling 24/7, the new Sirius XM channel. But anyways, so with that, I just want to jump back, and you said shout out to the producer. It's actually funny. The producer of the documentary followed me shortly after that aired. Davin Tong or Peter Chow, I can't remember. He's got 2 different names on his Instagram, so I don't know which one it is, but it's Davin Tong or Peter Chow. So big shout out to him for doing an absolutely incredible job on that entire video, because it really hit. I actually think it was done better than WWE's Unreal, and that says something, because that's a Netflix production. And this is just an independent YouTube channel that isn't owned by anyone except for Kross. So very well done. Like you mentioned, he did get a lot of heat, and he did really start this off with kind of looking depressed. And like, this is not where I want to be right now, but we're going to talk about it anyways, because why the fuck not? The engagement with the fans is the key point I want to talk to with this whole documentary. I have met, and so have you, many celebrities and pro wrestlers. It is very rare to get someone that engages eye to eye, if that makes sense. And it shocked me with Kross, because I've met Kross once, 2:00 in the morning at a bar that I should not have been at. And he was being the protective husband, which he actually portrayed in the documentary. He was just like, yeah, nice to meet you. Off you go. Cool. Awesome. Good with that. But the way he engaged with every single person he talked to, maybe it was because the camera was on, but it seemed so genuine and so just not forced. He wanted to tell stories. He wanted to engage. He wanted to listen. And the biggest part was he listened. And it's very rare to see, especially with, how wrestling fans can be like all just in your business when it comes to professional wrestlers. And hell, even some content creators, they're just very much in your business. So it's funny that, and really nice to see that both him and Scarlett are like that.
No, 100%. I would honestly say, I always say on camera that Nikki Bella is my favorite woman in professional wrestling. Scarlett's a close second, from, just watching her and how loyal she is to not only her craft, but her husband as well. Mm-hmm. I think it was like WWE did like a docu-series on like possession and like devil possession. Like they were like in houses that were like possessed or whatever. And she was in one of the episodes and like loving it when all the other females like hated it.
Yeah. That was her and Shotzi. To
me, those two, and I don't have extensive like fandom over the two of them. Because this is all very much like I've seen him obviously over the past 6 months backstage in segments, and obviously a former great NXT champion as well a few years back, which is shocking to me that it's played out this way, unless Triple H has like this master plan to bring him back in a huge way, because like he was one of Triple H's top dogs on NXT just like 3 short years ago. And then they brought him back, and literally him and Scarlett were in the main event scene with Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre on an episode of SmackDown, and that really didn't go very far. So it's like you can't really say he hasn't had opportunities. He has, and like WWE maybe just didn't like put an emphasis on them.
Mm-hmm.
But over the past couple of years, really hasn't had a much opportunity following that short feud with Drew McIntyre. He hasn't been featured on screen as much, but in the times that he has, I feel like he always gets a massive pop. I mean, I was there at WrestleMania 41, AJ Styles versus Logan Paul, when, you know, the Impulsive crowd tried to get involved in the match, and there was Karrion Kross, and the crowd went bananas for him. And now even in this feud with Sami Zayn that we've seen over the past couple of months, kind of culminating at SummerSlam, him and Scarlett are just insanely talented. Paul Heyman said it on Ariel Helwani's podcast. They are just an insanely good couple and just intertwined in what they're doing together. It baffled me if we have seen the last of Karrion Kross and Scarlett.
Yeah. I want to touch on something that you brought up. And first off, I think this whole "we want Kross" build definitely comes from that Good Soldier promo following WrestleMania. And listen, there are major players in professional wrestling that have only needed 1 or 2 minutes on the mic to completely change their career. I can think of 2 right now. Stone Cold Steve Austin after winning King of the Ring. The Rock when he was with the Nation of Domination and he came back from injury. He said to Vince, "Give me 2 minutes." He goes, "You get 45 seconds. And he changed his career with that promo. So you look at those two, and Kross didn't even have to do it in the arena. He did it on a podcast, which is crazy the days we live in now, that you can do it off of what the main show was and still go nuclear viral and become one of the hottest things. And to the documentary, Kross did mention 1 or 2 celebrities. And first off, the praise that he gave Logan Paul, because it was Logan's idea to involve him for that WrestleMania moment. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on Logan because this is about Kross, but the amount of people in WWE right now, both backstage and talent, that are praising Logan Paul for how good he is with the business, how engaged he is, how helpful he is. Like, everyone talks about Logan being this perfect, almost person backstage to help build and work with stories and all that kind of stuff. And it's incredible to see because of his stigma outside of professional wrestling. And I'm very in tune with the fact that people are talking positive, which is making me pay attention to Logan more. It's making me want to engage more with his content. Now, maybe that is a marketing genius ploy that he's put together with the backstage guys, like, hey, just hype me up a little bit. You know, we got Prime, all this kind of stuff, hype me up. Or it's actually he's a good person. And the fact that he went out his way and said, yeah, I want Kross and Scarlett to get involved, that's crazy. That's amazing.
Well, that just goes to show you that he's not just a celebrity that's mastered the craft of professional wrestling. He's a fan of pro wrestling, and he wants to put over the guys that aren't getting opportunities that deserve it, because he's a fan of the product as well. You know, and yes, he is a master marketer, probably one of the best, if not the best marketer outside of maybe Donald Trump in today's world. Yeah. With everything going on, but he has his hand on the pulse of everything that's going on within the ropes of pro wrestling, and that goes to show it right there.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I did mention that
he's asking to be a part of the upcoming Japan tour as well, because he's got a lot of men's to be made with, you know, that country. I mean, it goes to show that the guy's maturing a lot. You know,
absolutely.
He has the stigma of being a massive douchebag, but I think he's maturing.
Yeah, absolutely. Just keep him out of the forest. Anyways, talking about celebrities, very early in this documentary, Karrion Kross takes a massive shot at a celebrity. Doesn't say the name, but we all think we put 1 and 2 together. And the shot at Travis Scott early on in this documentary.
But there's a lot of people, not mentioning any names as of recently, but there's a lot of outsiders that can't hang with us, and they just disappear.
I need to know what the fallout with Travis Scott is, because that's not the first shot we've seen in the last couple of weeks with wrestlers, both online, on video, and in between, literally taking shots at Travis Scott. What the hell happened here? Like, can we even speculate? Will it ever come out? What is going on with this?
I really hope, Sam Roberts said it as well, I really hope that that is a sole episode on season 2 of WWE Unreal in 2026 when we get there. Because I think the next season will come out a year from now.
Yeah.
I really hope that, we get the exclusive on why that relationship just blew up. They say that Travis Scott just couldn't commit to things, wasn't a great communicator, but beyond that, we don't know what happened there. He was supposed to play a pivotal part in a pivotal storyline that the WWE wasn't willing to pull the trigger on for 25 years. And then they had to pivot again and just say, all right, just turn him back babyface because we don't have the payoff to this feud. I'm talking about, obviously, the John Cena heel turn and then the rushed babyface turn that we saw a couple weeks ago. Travis Scott was supposed to play a big part in that. The Rock was supposed to play a big part in that. I can't speak for Dwayne Johnson. He's the head of the board. He'll probably eventually speak on it one day because eventually, he's got to. It's only hurting his ego and it's hurting his reputation amongst wrestling fans for him to just be a part of a big thing and then leave and then not pay off the story. But Travis Scott's just a different beast. He's on a whole nother level. He's at the top of the music industry, and he just doesn't seem to be a great communicator from what we've seen. But we don't know the story. Paul Heyman says he's like, it just didn't work out, but who's to say what happened? I really hope that we get an exclusive on that at some point, but we don't know.
Yeah, I hope we get something on that because it's just crazy to see, top tier talent, like the John Cenas, the Cody Rhodes of the world, the Seth Rollins, the Karrion Krosses, all taking pot shots at Travis Scott.
Oh, I guess Cena did a little bit. I wouldn't call that a shot at Travis Scott, more so than he made it seem like it was a shot. They're probably good. But I do understand what you're saying.
So, I want to go into just one or two more segments of this documentary because I think we could talk about this for hours, but the comment that Kross made is that there was a discussion about his contract, but there was I got the quote here, no substance to the recent contract talks. Conversations seemed empty. Now, when you think of contract negotiations, and you've worked back behind the scenes with some contracts with the business that you're in, when you are talking about wanting to have someone involved, you go in with a little bit of excitement, being like, I'm bringing you here because I want you here. When Kross talked about that, you could see that I took it as the wrong person was in the room to have the conversation about the contract. It felt like the way he was explaining it wasn't a wrestling minded person talking to a professional wrestler to negotiate what they're going to do moving forward with a future contract. It seemed like it was, the way he was putting it, a back office stooge that knows TKO business but doesn't know professional wrestling and sports entertainment. That's what I took from that comment.
Now, was that directed toward Sam and Megan?
No. This was in the documentary, and it was halfway through it. He said a guy in a suit came in, and we talked about the contract, and it seemed like it was empty conversation. Now, I don't think this would be a Nick Khan. I don't think this would be a Lee Fitting or a Triple H for that matter. This felt like, what was his name? Mark Carrano. Remember Talent Relations back in the day? It felt like they were talking about a lesser version of Mark Carrano.
Or John Laurinaitis.
Yeah, John Laurinaitis has a great wrestling mind, but yeah, that type of, stooge, I guess, that wears the suit but is only worried about the corporate side of things and not, the talent relations side of things. I took that as wow, if he's saying that, then Triple H really, maybe this is actually a big work, because if you're talking your contract and they send basically a nobody to negotiate your contract, could that be just a made up story? Because my biggest thing about this whole thing is WWE has not said anything. Normally when a professional wrestler leaves their contract, And like, granted, Kross and Scarlett were not released. Their contract ended and expired. They don't have to future endeavor them, right? But normally there's something. There's also, you don't keep brand new merch on the site. That gets put aside. Yes, okay, his music was taken off the Spotify playlist. He has changed his name on social media and not WWE Superstar. They have put out booking emails. They are not under contract with WWE, but I'm going to assume there is a handshake deal here. Let's just blow this up. There's a handshake deal here that Kross and Scarlett can play this whole story that they are not involved with WWE to have a major payoff at the end of this.
Yeah.
This has to be that. Like, imagine, like, you look at this way. The whole R-Truth thing, I think, was a teaser to what they can do in the future and how big that was. You know, like, Truth was future endeavored. And 2 weeks later, he's back on TV to one of the biggest pops of 2025. You know what I mean? Now you look at Kross and Scarlett. I played this out, and I don't know if you want to hear about my fantasy booking for this, but I played this out to kind of answering all the rest of the questions for 2026 or 2025. Karrion Kross could actually be John Cena's final opponent. Hear me out. Go back, rewind to 2002, or I believe it was 2002, 2001. John Cena answers Kurt Angle's open challenge, right? John Cena was how they directed to be the future of the business. They already had their eyes set on him in OVW, put him against one of the best guys in the business. What if we fast forward 25 years and John Cena walks into Boston and says, I've done it all. I've beat everybody. You know, who's there? Who's left? Who can answer the open challenge in my last match in Boston? And everybody, we've let it die out. The We Want Crosses have died. Kross's music, lights go down. Kross's music hit, big pop. Kross goes over on John Cena in his finals match, and Kross declares for the Rumble. And potentially wins the Rumble and then goes and main events WrestleMania against whoever the champions, one of the champions are. I'm just saying, it's a fantasy, but
Yeah, I mean, it's an option. The only thing with that is that John Cena, when, you know, they put John Cena against Kurt Angle, John Cena was like 23 years old.
True.
You got to remember that Karrion Kross and a lot of these guys, like
39.
Braun Breaker's a kid. 39's 40, man. Let's not kid ourselves. But, you know, like, it's just not the same, because it's like, okay, it's kind of like Cody Rhodes. It's like Cody Rhodes was able to capture that small window of success in a way that nobody else could, but he's still, like, he probably has like 5 years left before he's probably going to want to wind down. You know, Karrion Kross, if he's able to, like, this would be the window, right? Like, this would be the window for him to become a main event star, and there's no bigger chance for him to be a big main event star than not just by beating John Cena in his final match, but like destroying John Cena in his final match. Like, make it be known Karrion Kross is here. But at the same time, I also feel like if Karrion Kross comes back, not if, but like most likely when he comes back, is he necessarily, I know his whole heel persona is what fans love, but like fans are backing this guy. Like, the reason why Karrion Kross might be coming back to WWE soon, or, you know, a couple months down the line, is because the WWE fan base picked him. Is that guy really going to be a massive heel? Is he really going to be a massive heel going into WrestleMania season?
Austin was. Austin was when the fans picked Austin. He was a massive heel. He shit all over Jake Roberts, cut a massive heel promo. Next night on Monday Night Raw, Austin 316 signs everywhere, but he's still a heel. And Paul Heyman, you said it.
He became the biggest baby face that the WWE's ever had. I mean, not a baby face, but like...
He was a tweener. He was like our first real tweener. You know what I mean? And like Paul Heyman said it on Ariel Helwani. It's the closest thing we've seen to Austin in decades, is how over this heel is. Granted, he's great with the kids. He's great with the fans outside of it. And yeah, he might have gotten in a little trouble about that. But we live in a whole new world. We have access to wrestlers in ways that we didn't back then, you know? So I think, to sum this all up, this is an incredibly brilliant marketing ploy by both Karrion Kross and Scarlett and the WWE story. And like you mentioned, when Unreal Season 2 comes back, this is going to be a full episode on We Got You. They got us with Seth. They got us with Truth. I am standing until I see Karrion Kross show up in AEW. That's the only time I'll believe it's not a work. Kross shows up in AEW, it's dead. But he shows up in TNA, you know, GCW, Row, Fourth Rope, take your bookings, whatever. But this is probably going to be one of the biggest works that we have ever seen. And I will sit back and I will never fantasy book anything that WWE fans believe again, because this could be the biggest work we've ever seen.
I think it'll be an exciting moment when he comes back, but the fact that we're talking about it and the fact that we're like strategizing what could potentially happen based on things that we've seen recently with the WWE trying to work us, I wouldn't call it one of the best works of all time, because I feel like we're expecting it at some point. It being one of the greatest works and angles of all time would be when we are totally unexpected. So the only way that like we would be thrown off guard of Karrion Kross coming back is if you're right, if it happened in like Cena's final match and it was a huge moment like that that nobody was expecting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it would have to be a moment that stands the test of time, that really pays off the fans backing Karrion Kross. Like it can't just be like he comes back on TV 2 weeks from now, you know?
Number 30 at the Rumble. That would be insane. Number 30 at the Rumble, who Sammy's the favorite to win the Rumble in Saudi. And number 30 is Kross, and he eliminates Sammy and takes away his world title opportunity, and Kross goes to WrestleMania. And then we end up getting the triple threat with Sammy somehow involved. Sammy wins the chamber or whatever. That would draw a pop. That would draw the heat, and that would drop the holy fuck moment. So, anyways, guys, that is it. That is all we're going to do on this. Let us know. Is it a work? Is Kross gone for good? Is WWE doing what WWE does best and just marketing the hell out of this so more and more people talk about it for the big payoff at the end? This is Jack. I am Steve. Our stuff is down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, put the bell on for all notifications. Like always, Jack, be good people.